even going to go into the list. There's too many. You're on ABC Sunshine Coast this morning. It's 10 to 8.
Surfers and beachgoers, Easy updating you with the latest in surf and beach conditions. Still some fun waves around surfers, even though that east-southeasterly swell has eased overnight. It's showing maximum size across the open beaches with waves around that 3 to 5 foot range. It gets a little bit smaller as you head towards the points, particularly around Bluff and Corner, Alexandra Headland. It's starting to fill up with that tide, with a high tide there at 7:45 this morning. Now, winds are currently out of the west. Surf conditions, wave quality looking really good. Fun waves on the points at Noosa. We'll get a little full there with a high tide and will be a lot better as that tide starts to run out. Experienced surfers along the open beach stretches from Coolum through to Sunshine, so too along the Kawana stretch. It's a little smaller along Maroochydore than from yesterday, but still looking really good with waves around 3 to 4 foot on the sets. A little full at the Bluff and Corner, but looking fun for a novice to experienced surfer. So too Point Cartwright and Ann Street through to Moffat's on the southern end of the coast. Kings Beach, Caloundra, offering a fun little wave down there at the bar as well. Water temp is at 23 degrees. Remember, beachgoers, if you are heading out, still a lot of water movement around with strong rips and currents. Only swim on those open patrol beaches between the red and yellow flags. That is the latest from the beach on ABC Sunshine Coast.
Looking like a good day to head to the beach, even if you're sticking out of the water. Caloundra a top of 24 degrees, getting up to 23 in Maleny, 24 in Maroochydore and Nambour, and Gympie on 25 today as well. We're certainly heading up into that territory at the moment. Most places around the coast between around 10 and 18 degrees at the moment too.
I declare you are the one I love. You are my heart, you are my soul.
When I'm in the car or doing chores, washing up, vacuuming, taking out the bin.
You bring the greatest joy into my life. You're everything to me.
Declare your love to the music you can't live without. Vote now for the Classic 100 at ABC Classic Online.
You're listening to Sarah Howells on ABC Sunshine Coast.
You sure are. And Ollie Wickham joining us as well. Hi, Ollie. I don't know why I'm singing your name now, but that's what's happening.
Let's do it. It's all showbiz. And, look, we're talking surf just before Spinksy's back again to have a bit of a chat about what happened yesterday afternoon in the WSL. Some huge news. Sally Fitzgibbons has picked up the win at Rottnest Island. She's now number 2 in the world as well, so some great news. And Gabriel Medina's on just a wild ride, winning another event on the Australian leg. Spinksy, but I don't think either of us had Sally picked, though, did we?
No. Again, my underdog, though, she got into the final, and unfortunately she just, luck just was not on her side. Sally just come out with more guns blazing and bursted out the blocks and put in some really good scores in there, and there was just nothing there for Joanne, unfortunately, going in there. But she did take down the world number 1, Carissa, but she is still leading that the world standings with, as you just mentioned, Sally in second place. But look, it's been a great event, and again, the Brazil nuts very dominating that Australian leg right across. As you said, Gabrielle with 2 wins on the Australian side, and it was really good to see that Morgan give it to Gabrielle, but unfortunately coming out with that first really good ride, and there was nothing out of that. Even though he had priority, Mother Nature just said, not today, mate.
He got that amazing 7.4. It was such a good ride. And then he sat with priority out the back. And in the last, was it 30 seconds or a minute, Gabriel Medina just paddled over and they shook each other's hands. They knew it. That was it. There were no sets coming. He'd waited, but nothing came out.
Yeah, pretty much that was it. It was the end game. Look, I thought Morgan rode that wave out a little bit longer and deserved a bit of a higher score, but the judges were really critical riding out of the wave on all the end manoeuvres throughout the competition in Australia. And that little wobble at the end across a couple of shelves at Rottnest on that left-hander, you'd really have to have your feet glued to the board to make it through that little wash through there. But
it was essentially rocks too. Gabriel Medina bailed on an air. He rarely bails on them, but he bailed because below him was essentially just rocks and about a centimetre of water.
Yeah, very shallow in there, and you can see it too as they paddle back out. That wave and the water just sucking out and leaving it pretty much almost close to dry. But look, a great event heading into June where they all head to the surf ranch where everyone has the same opportunity to tackle the same kind of waves.
It's going to be sheer athletics, which is going to be interesting. Speaking of athletics, watching the way Sally hit those waves, she was saying that she was trying to play games in her mind, that she was back at home at her home break, but she really looked like it. And even in the semi-finals against Tyler, Tyler just wasn't looking really solid on her board, unfortunately, and she had a couple of missed turns. She was just world number one at the start of this run into Australia, and she was looking shaky in that semi-final. But Sally was just so athletic and strong.
Yeah, she really put in a performance, particularly through those last two finals, the semis and through the, and the final up against Joanne. Great surfing, and she's always been there, and she's always had that fantastic approach, and it's really good to see her get up there. She didn't have a really good results, mediocre scores through the couple of legs of the Australian, particularly the first, second and third. But to jump in and get right up there to take that number one, give her a really good sense of, the confidence going into the surf ranch and into the rest of it. So she can keep that momentum going. She's a good shot to stay there in the top five where they'll sort it all out in September.
It's an interesting format this year as well, seeing as there's essentially a surf-off for the world champion this year.
Yeah, that's correct, because it's normally, as we've had it, when you're number one and you're getting all the scores and being number one, and that at the end of the year, that your points determine the winner. Whereas this is now with the top five, those top five, everyone has a chance. But in saying that, whoever finishes number one, they only get to surf once on that day, and that's in that final. So those number five, if they get up to surf against number one, they obviously have to beat number four, number three, number two to get all the way up into there. So going in with momentum, if you're sitting in around like that third or fourth spot, you get to surf and get to, get the feel of the wave and what's in there. But, number one, he has to go out and then perform their total best in that 140-minute heat. I'm guessing it's going to be that, yeah.
It's going to really play to the people who have a solid mental game too. There was mentioned yesterday in the commentary about Gabriel Medina's mental game, that he basically goes in with just this sheer confidence. And I think you could definitely say the same thing about Sally through the last three heats. She was just looking so mentally strong, and just having, she had a smile on her face when she came out. She was just looking really, really confident on her performance. So hopefully that says something, and she can pick up a win and pick up a world title.
Oh, that'd be ultimate. That'd be so good. But, don't count out. There's an equal fifth at the moment in the rankings with Steph and Joanne. You've got Tyler in fourth, Tatiana still in third. But you've got all the other ones still, Carolyn, Isabel, Nichols from Australia. They'll be all knocking up the doors, particularly going to the surf ranch and some epic waves competition. I'm looking forward to the Tahiti one, to be quite honest. I'm hoping it's going to be frothing, and that's where it's going to determine the top five going into September.
Yeah, who can handle those big waves? Spinksy, thanks so much. We'll catch up again soon. Always good to chat.
You're welcome, Ollie. Have a good day, mate.
You too, mate. See ya.
Thank you to both of you, Ollie Wickham and Spinksy there. I'm making Ollie do all the work this morning, but
it's good fun.
Good fun. You're on ABC Sunshine Coast.